So, we are still starting the year, so we are still kind of putting out pieces in terms of forecasts, how the year is going to be, etc., etc. One way to kind of predict what the year is going to look like is really dig deep into fundamentals, corporate earnings, macros, and all of that stuff, the hard work. The other is to kind of look at the previous year's returns and say, well, if they've been really bad, can the next year be as bad? I mean, can't it be better? So, what I'm referring to is what is known as mean reversion, right? And this is a note put out by Sakti Shiva from Credit Suisse, and I just want to kind of, it's interesting. I mean, to be fair, Sakti says that she's put this out as a fun piece. It's not a serious piece, but she also says it's remarkable how often mean reversion actually does work. I mean, if you just look at previous returns, how badly a market has done, it's unlikely it'll do as badly. Whereas, I mean, analysts, etc., they kind of go on the momentum. I mean, something is done very badly, they will say, well, it could do worse. Something is done very well, the run should continue, right? But it doesn't often. And here's the data, which kind of has been put out by Shakti Shiva. So the two of the worst performers in 2015 were two of the four best performers in 2016, according to her. The two markets she's talking about is Indonesia and Thailand. I mean, Indonesia was down 26% in 2016. I'm talking about the country indices, MSCI country indices. It is the best performer in 2016. She's also only looked at essentially Asian markets for the purpose of this comparison, right? I mean, that's pretty stark. According to her, the best years for mean reversion were 2013 and 14. All four markets which were the worst performers in 2013 turned out to be the best performers in 2014. By the way, one of the markets which turned out to be the best performer in 2014 was India. I mean, the India MSCI country index was up 24% in 2014. What is 2016's performance of India tell us about 2017? I'm afraid not very much. I mean, if you look at the figures, India has been down about 3%. The country index is down 3% in 2016. I mean, if you go back all the way to about 2010, 2011 or so, one thing which stands out, Ekta, is that if the numbers are pretty large on either side, if a market has done very well, 15% plus, 20% plus, in those terms, then you can say with some degree of confidence whether it'll be a subdued year the next year. But if it is 3% like India has been in 2016, I don't really think one can say anything very confidently about what 2017 has in store. So, and the numbers bear it out. I mean, the last graphic, 2014, the market was up 22%. The next 2 years, that is 2015 and last year, we were down 7% and 3% respectively. So, I mean, I just thought it was an interesting piece. But again, I want to wrap this up by saying what Sakti said, that this is, a bit of a fun piece. It doesn't really, of course, get into the nitty-gritties about corporate earnings, which really are the driver for markets. But mean reversion is a powerful factor in financial markets.
Okay, so let's see whether those